Hi, it's Pat Gillis here, and we got a little bit of snow last night, which at this time of year it's still kind of novel and fun. So I thought I'd show you some of the horses, and they've snuck up on me here. It was quiet a minute ago. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was how we stay in balance when we ride horses, and we want to think to ourselves also that, you know, we ask a lot of horses when we get on their back, and we want to try to make that as easy as possible for them. Oh, there you go, something more interesting than me. Okay, good. You know, like if you remember as a kid going to school and maybe you had a backpack full of books, like books, or if we can even remember what books were, but at any rate, you know, and you got your whole backpack full of books, and as you're walking along it shifts a little bit, you know, and it's not enough to make you fall down or anything like that, but you do have to kind of compensate quickly to kind of regain your balance and get that book back in the center of your back. And you can imagine, right, if that happened repeatedly all the time, eventually you'd get some kind of muscle soreness, I would guess, and you'd also maybe even develop a sore back. And I think when we think of riding, we want to think about being in balance with the horse as well. So I asked some of our students at Harrogate to help me demonstrate. So Victor right now is showing you how it looks if your shoulders are slightly back too far, and oftentimes with that goes the legs being too far forward as well. So the appearance is that if Victor didn't hang on to that siding there, he would fall backwards, especially if he'd placed his legs a little bit out in front of him. In the next picture, Victor is demonstrating how the alignment from his shoulders, his hips to his heels is a little bit more in one straight line. So he can stand there without any risk of losing his balance, and he doesn't have to hold on to anything in order to stay upright. So now you can see as Victor is on the horse that he's applying the same principle, that his shoulders, hips, and heels are in a straight line. And so he's balanced in the middle of that horse. This is where it would be the easiest for Dallas to carry him. Now Victor is demonstrating what happens if your leg is too far forward and your shoulders are too far back. He's behind the movement now, and there's no longer that straight line from shoulder, hip to heel. The same is true if Victor demonstrates being too far forward with his leg too far back. Again, he's lost that alignment from shoulder, hip to heel. Daniel demonstrates this by sitting on the bench. So you can see right now that there's a straight line from his shoulders, his hips to the heels. If, on the other hand, he sits this way, now you can see that that alignment's not there anymore. This makes it really hard to get out of the saddle. You're way behind the motion. So even though Daniel can do it, this coming back into the saddle is not as delicate as you might hope. Now Daniel on the horse, demonstrating again a correct position, shoulder, hips, heels. And this is more like his position on the bench. His legs are way out in front of him and he's behind the motion. If he were to try to do rising or posting trot right now, he would be working against the horse's natural movement and have to kind of heave himself out and land roughly. Finally, Daniel demonstrates being ahead of the motion, that is, shoulders, hips, and heels are no longer in alignment and his leg is too far out behind him. So when you're on the horse, that's the same kind of thing that you want to maintain. So that you're not like that, you know, backpack of books that are shifting around as your horse is trying to do his best for you. There's a lot of straight lines we talk about with horses, and that's just one of them. That straight line, it's sort of a classical, almost cliched straight line from the shoulders, the hips, to the heels of the rider. But man, it makes a big difference, you know, and you will find that if you can maintain that position, your horse will be happier and he'll find his job a whole lot easier. So that's it for this week. Next week we'll talk about some other straight lines that we think of when we think of riding. But for now, that's it. So have a great week. If you've got some snow, enjoy it while it's still novel. And we will talk to you next week. Remember to thank your horse.